Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the southwest corner of the map, playing in blue, representing Team My Insanity. It's Anotand, playing as the Abbasid dynasty, and battling out against him today, spawning in the northeast in red. It's Worm, also known as beastyqt, playing as the Ottomans. Welcome everyone to Gorge. As always, ladies and gents, hope you are all having a great morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And we're on Gorge again. I'm pretty excited for this matchup. It's actually an interesting one in the context of the ranked ladder at the moment. You've got Anotand at the moment sitting at the top, rank number 1. And of course Beasty looking to challenge that position. He took a bit of a break from Age of Empires 4. Well, I wouldn't, maybe not necessarily a break, but a couple of days off. He's been playing Age of Mythology, of course, and in that time, Anotand has definitely risen the ranks, sealing his place in the first number 1 spot. And you know what? It feels like he's not ready to give that up. And today it's going to be the Abbasids versus the Ottomans. Interesting matchup in many ways. I guess in a lot of ways, this matchup has kind of held firm for the last few patches. The Abbasid dynasty have a really good boom on them. Plenty of town centers is something they could do. Second town center usually. The Ottomans, they've had a little bit of a change, but they do typically look to put a lot of feudal age pressure. And the change we're talking about is really their castle age and mostly Imperial age presence with the Great Bombards. When they do get to the super late game, they can actually do quite a bit of damage with the Great Bombards. The question is whether their game will get that far or not. Either way, time will tell. Now the map generation is quite a nice one here for the Abbasids. It's got the gold at the back. It's always quite important to get that gold at the back if you can. Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just a random map generation, but second town center could look to protect that quite nicely here for the Abbasids. And it will be the economic wing, giving them access to fresh foodstuffs, but also more importantly, from the House of Wisdom, Fertile Crescent. I'll say most importantly, but they're both actually very strong. They obviously synergize really well. The reduction in the cost of economic buildings, including the town centers, is huge for getting the second town center, significantly cheaper. But equally, if not more of a bigger deal, is the fresh foodstuffs upgrade. Reduces the cost of those villages by 35%, and that allows the Abbasids to get multiple town centers and not hitting their economy too hard, and actually still be able to get a military presence, which is probably something that they're going to need going up against the Ottomans. Speaking of which, the Ottomans are going to go with the Sultanhani trade network, actually commonly chosen these days. We are not seeing the minaret madrasa, the twin minaret madrasa, all that often anymore. And I think a lot of it's because they can go for Anatolian hills as a vizier point, but also the trade network is quite a nice building to be able to scale a little bit more economy. You can get the gold trickling on in. And it does support a fast castles type of playstyle for the Ottomans if they choose to do so. Now, I believe you start off with 3 traders, completely free, 3 traders for free, I believe, and then you can add in more up to a maximum of 10 garrisoned inside this landmark, and it will continue to passively generate your gold. Speaking of gold, the Abbasids have been pushed away from that, but he's got the upgraded, well, he's got the gold that he needs for the upgrades, right? So he needs 75 gold for fresh foodstuffs, and they need 75 gold for Fertile Crescent. So he's got exactly what he needs. And then some a little bit. There's that tech up pretty fast, and he's gathering stone as we'd imagine, looking to get that second town center. Now with the spearman already in hand, it's unlikely he's going to place a second town center here. I mean, he might do on the gold position, but I suspect he'll place it a little bit closer to where the stone is, and get that second town center up and running as quickly as possible, as we see another spearman coming forward for the Ottomans. Obviously he built that military school as the first thing he did there, Beasty. Commonly done, although we're seeing it a little less often than previously. But of course he's looking to put some harassment in for the second town centre play, which actually the Abbasids, as it happens, will be able to afford just about now. He's actually overmined the stone, which is a bit unusual. He's got 94 stone in excess. I don't know if he's got other plans for that. Maybe arrow slits with an outpost? Who knows? We'll have to see what he decides to do eventually with that. Now, speaking of stone and second town centers, Beasty's looking to get his own, with a good few villagers, 7 on stone for his own town center. Spearman just being a bit annoying more than anything. Won't really be able to achieve too much with that. Now on a map like Gorge, you've got 3 lanes. You've got the one down the middle, very direct access route, and then the one on the west, one on the right, the east. So there's 3 ways to attack your enemy, but obviously players do often go straight down the middle, the path of least resistance, at least in most cases. Another spearman popping forward. Town center will go up safely. Nothing lost here in terms of villages, as you'd expect for the Abbasids. Wait, what? He's going back out to stone? That's a lot of villagers committing to it as well. I'm not entirely sure about this play. He's obviously going inside the range of the town center fire. So the spearman getting poked and prodded a little bit with those arrows. But is he thinking about a third town center? I mean, if he is, it can work, but it's kind of greedy. But if there's a civilization that can make it work, it's probably the Abbasids. And I guess he gets away with it a little bit in the sense that the Ottomans are going for a second town center themselves, right? It's a whole different story if the Ottomans are thinking one town center play. But with the Ottomans going for two town centers, not having access to such a great bonus as fresh foodstuffs, of course, Anotand and the Abbasid dynasty will be able to pump out units, as well as keep up the villager count ticking and talking. Going forward for the berries, and also, well, more importantly, the deer camp really with the town center. And he can afford to do so, at least for now. Well, I don't think it... Yeah, I mean, he's going to go for... Yeah, there's a third town center. This is super greedy, and I wonder whether Beasty will add in a third himself. I can't imagine so, right? Because you don't want to be going in a race with the Abbasids for who can get the most town centers, because you just can't win that fight, right? Cheaper town centers, cheaper villages. It's not something you want to get involved with as the Ottomans. But a second town center does give Beasty a little bit of a window into this game. It's not going to be sort of a full all-in play for him as such. Although, maybe it might need to be for him to be able to win this game now, because the Abbasids are definitely booming it up. But it's pretty cool. It looks like the game is set up to a situation where the Abbasids will be booming, looking to defend as much as they possibly can, and then break out when they have a strong economy and a strong military that's been funded by it. The Ottomans, on the other hand, looks like they're going to go full pedal to the metal. Maybe get some feudal age pressure in. I think delaying it to the castle age to put some pressure might be a bit too risky. I could imagine. I mean, he's gathering stone still, Beasty, but it might be for more military schools. And quite likely to be so. Either way, Sipahi on the map, getting across and looking to see what we can find. But with three town centers very close and tight-knitly packed, it's going to be hard for Beasty to do some damage. He's going to have a hard task ahead of himself. He needs to get a critical mass of units, I guess, before he really pushes in. There's that second military school, and also the blacksmith, which will be increasing the production speed of these buildings by quite a significant amount. And also, I thought for a second he might be looking to snag these deer camp, but no, just spreading them out with the spearmen for now. So I would like to say, by the way, a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. You guys are absolute legends, as always. Thank you for the support. There's actually quite a few villages on gold. He is actually going for a castle age. 2 TC into castle age, and by the time... Wait. That is a 4th town center. Holy moly! I mean, surely he's got to stop at 4, right? 3 we thought was greedy enough, but adding in a 4th is kind of crazy, and I don't think Beasty knows about it. I mean, not that it necessarily changes what he does, because I can imagine he's going to go to the castle age, pick up some of the relics, and then try and put as much pressure as he can. But it is a timer on him, right? Because he's going to be up against a civilization that's got double the capacity to train villagers in terms of speed, but also a much reduced cost with them. It's kind of crazy to think about. The Abbasid dynasty economy is going to be looking great. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's kind of... I don't think I've ever seen this kind of playstyle at top tier level gameplay of Age of Empires 4. 4 town centers? It almost feels like a bit of a troll, but I mean, I would say it's a troll if fresh foodstuffs wasn't a thing, right? But it actually does give him a lot of benefit adding more town centers. And it doesn't hit you as hard with both Fertile Crescent and fresh foodstuffs in play. But he's looking to wall up, right? So we talked about earlier in the cast that we thought really it's going to be about the Abbasids' ability to defend, and the Ottomans could go for a sort of a timing attack, and that's even more accentuated by that 4th town center. He's going to go for the Mehmed Imperial Armory. Now, this is not on the public update preview. This is actually on the live branch of Age of... Well, words is tough for me today. But of Age of Empires 4. And the reason why I mention that is because we have been casting a lot on the public update preview, where things have changed and siege isn't as good. Mangonels have been nerfed quite significantly, but on this particular game, actually, the Mangonels are what we have come to know and love, of course, with their incredible damage against ranged units. And I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think. Do you guys welcome the nerf to them? What's happened with them is that the Mangonels, their boulders, their radius of damage has been significantly reduced, and they actually can be countered quite a lot more easier by ranged units. And Springald's no longer sort of directly counter them. Springald's are now more of a sort of anti-melee unit. So it's definitely interesting. We've seen some good games with mangonels being featured, of the new mangonels that is. But today will not be such a game because we are on the live version of Age of Empires 4 for this one. Now, could that be the first villager going down? It isn't, so Anotand, he is sweeping really far ahead on that villager count. But Beasty is looking to wall up himself, so he wants to play to mid to late game, and I think if he can drag the game out to the super late game, that could be his way back in, but economically at the moment, he is far behind. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? In many circumstances, you think about a 4-town center play in a 1v1 game like this for Age of Empires as being the troll strategy, but actually, maybe there's some merit into what Anotand is doing. It looks like a good idea so far. I mean, he's not been pushed. Beasty potentially thinking about playing the late game for the Ottomans, which is always a tough one, right? Because it's sure they got the great bombards, definitely goes a long way, but the abbasids don't have a weak Imperial age themselves. With golden ages coming on in, I think tier 3 golden age is actually really powerful. Villager gathering rate being increased by 20% for all resources. Research speed as well is pretty good, but more importantly as well is the production speed by 20%. They can really spam out units and they've got a great economy behind it. Now granted, the Ottomans get free units, but it almost feels like you kind of want the resources and be able to pump out units. You've got more flexibility that way, or I guess you can toggle the military scores, but it's not as easily done, right? You can just choose whatever units you want to make at a quick press of a button, but toggling to something, it's a little bit more tricky. Basically, they're trying to keep things open, which is of course what Anotand wants to avoid. He'd like to keep things as closed as possible. A couple of spearmen, only a handful. Beasty not wanting to take a trade just yet. But he's building plenty of walls. He doesn't want to get, kind of raided with these cavalry. Bear in mind, by the way, the Fertile Crescent upgrade is so powerful for the Abbasids. Not only does it give you the cheaper town centers, but it also gives you the cheaper farms. 49 wood for a farm, and the reason why that's so significant, it makes the farming transition really smooth. So you think about multiple town centers, gives you a lot more villages, but they are cheaper, so it makes making armies smoother. But then also the farming transition, which is often needed, is a lot smoother as well, so you can continue to make those units. Just going to fight this spearman off, no reason not to. Beasty, on the other hand, if he's going to go for a farming transition, it will hit his timings hard. It will slow down his steam. Though with the map control he's got, it should be pretty okay. Should be able to get the deer camp in the north. But one thing he can't do, in fact, one thing that both civilizations can't do, is take the boar. Mangonel deploys, gets a good shot on the spearmen. Only 2 of them actually affected by that, though. So not terrible for Anotand. And the big deal about the situation as well is that cavalry, I'm not sure how much of a... Oh, well, no, not going to work. Too many camel archers. Cavalry is not really an option for the Ottomans, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? Because you kind of picture it the other way around. Often cavalry is not an option for the enemies of the Ottomans because of the threat of the Janissaries. But the number of camel archers here, whilst they are cavalry units, they actually do great work against light melee infantry, which includes Janissaries, if I'm not mistaken, because I think they've got... I mean, you've got the light gunpowder infantry anyway, which, that's what they are, really. So they've got bonus damage against Janissaries. So it's quite a nice interaction that the Abbasids have against the Ottomans. He's going to go for the military wing as well. That's going to give him access to boot camp, which would be great for those spearmen. He's about a minute and a bit away from it. Castle Age has been secured quite a while ago for Beasty, as it happens, and he's picked up 1 relic already. 1 more on the way. He won't want to engage this. Not with this number of spearmen, he can't. He's going to get a couple of hits here for free. On the right side, going to try and deny the walls. But the great thing about the camels as well, camel unease. Reducing the amount of damage coming out of the lance, of course, is still going to kill a villager or 2, but it will go down in the end. They're expensive units, the camel archers, but boy do they work well in a big group of them. As we just saw. The crazy thing, look how many farmers he's got. So many already. Big army moving forward though for Beasty. Maybe this is his time to go. Now certainly, unless it goes to the super late game, Beasty's got to do something. He's got to do something fast, right? Because economically, he has been, he's being swamped here. 67 villagers on food for the Abbasids, only 14 for Beasty. Whilst this by many would be considered a stroll chat? No, a troll strat. It's actually seeming to work so far for Anotand. But of course, we have to hold the horses because the unit numbers are starting to scale nicely for Beasty. He's trickling in a couple more around, and so this next fight could be pivotal. There's that castle age. Maybe now's the time to go for Beasty. Is that going to be a signal? It looks like it. The Golden Age is at level 2, so research speeds go up by 15%, which is quite significant, right? You just teched up to the next stage. You want those tech ups, those researches really quickly, as soon as you can, really. So 15% extra speed is always welcome there. He's looking to build a spring ore to go up against mangonels, of which there are 2, courtesy of the Mehmed Imperial Armory, of course. The Mehter beating on his drums, increasing the attack speed of these Ottoman units. Now, he'll break through. The question is, can he do significant damage? Mangonel deploys, hits the Springald. Springald pretty low on health. Spearman brace against the cavalry. Sipahi, though, backing away for now. Camel on ease goes a long way here. Camel archers need to take these Sipahi down if they can. Good number of archers. A handful of janissaries there. Not too many, of course. The Camel archers should rip through them. And whilst we've got 61 military units, I'm not so sure Beasty's going to have too much joy here. Mangonels deploy. A couple of Ghulams added into the mix, which will certainly be helpful for Anotand, because the archers barely do any damage against them, and of course they'll tank really well against the Sipahi. Mangonel shots are being dodged by Anotand, which is exactly what he wants to do. Can't afford to take too many big hits. He does take a big hit though on the farms, with about 4 camels affected. He's going to try and snap out the Mangonels potentially. Another Mangonel shot, but only on, well, mostly a Ghulam and 1 camel archer. Speaking of Ghulams, they're on top of the Mangonels now. Beasty is having to back away. Those archers probably unlikely to do too much damage now. Yeah, they have to back away. They cannot take an effective fight against Ghulam, that's for sure. Looks like he can take the fight anyway, but he really can't afford to. Gonna try and run out of there with the Mehters at least. Salvage what he can. Get behind the palisade walls, which buy him some time actually as it happens. But he doesn't have a farming transition, right? So this is not looking too good for Beasty because he needs that food source secured. And he's about to run out from the gathering, I imagine. Oh, cheeky outpost coming here on the right side for the Ottomans. Anotand has played this incredibly nicely. I still can't get over the fact that he went for 4 town centres and has actually been able to make it work. Crazy to think about. Mangonel deploys, but not really hitting too much. The Ghulams are super tanky, of course. He's absolutely absorbing those arrows. Mehter goes down. 1 more still remains in the mass of the archers, so it's important that he keeps that alive, at least has the attack speed. But these Ghulams actually chopping through these archers. He does have a couple of imams healing on up, but these Ghulams, more than enough to deal with this. He might even lose a Mangonel, which actually be pretty painful. I think he does lose that. It'd be kind of close. Yeah, he's got to lose that, right? With the camel archer shooting as well, he does. And Beasty now neck and neck in terms of unit numbers, but not really quite the unit composition he wants. He's quite likely to want a couple more crossbows at least here. Looks like Anotand. He feels no fear. He's rushing on in. Why would you? With this great economy behind him, he just has to keep building, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to the Imperial Age soon. He's actually not that far off, would you believe? Now, with Gorge being kind of open as it happens, it's kind of crazy this has ended up this way. I guess in a way, they've kind of closed off for themselves. Especially Anotand with those walls. There's the second outpost. They can deny the gold, and you can see a definite play for denying resources, which is certainly a big part of Age of Empires for. It's going to be the Imperial Age, though, for the Ottomans, the Istanbul Observatory, and for the Abbasids. It's going to go for the culture wing, which, by the way, is actually huge. I think a lot of the choices here have been working out really well. There's definitely a natural progression between, you know, eco wing, military wing, and then culture wing. The eco wing lets you play a bit of greed. The military wing gives you that pressure on the map, gives you that presence in terms of military in case you're being pushed yourself. And then to finish the deal, the culture wing means that in the Imperial Age, your technologies are significantly cheaper, and that, you know, it's quite nice to have. Get that cost effectiveness as a bit of a power spike. Not to mention the House of Wisdom, the tier 2, the golden age with the extra research speed, and if you can get to tier 3, then that's a really, really powerful thing. Only 8 buildings away as it happens. Probably is actually just worth placing 8 houses for that. There's the tech up there for Beasty, throwing away a couple of cooldowns, but not necessarily a problem for anotand because he knows he must be ahead in terms of villager count, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's no way that the Ottomans would have been able to keep up with a 4-town centre boom. And 2 relics will help, but not when anotand's bringing his first to negate it somewhat. Beasty, he has to find a way to push out of his base, but at the moment he's being pegged at home. A couple of Ghulams keeping him honest, keeping his army back at home, and that's exactly what anotand wants. Going to build up a large force down the middle, still 10 seconds away from his Imperial age. No way to speed that up, of course. Beasty's still chasing. Now with Beasty into the Imperial age, you get the feeling that he probably has about 5-10 minutes to do significant damage, and if he doesn't, maybe this game will be curtains, and maybe whilst we thought it might be a troll strategy, it might be a winning strategy. Oh, that's a lot of villagers on the gold vein. This is not looking too good for him. He's got to secure gold. And this is not it. Oh, he's not getting the attack notification. He was getting an attack notification from everywhere, really. Because of the raid in Ghulams, and he's not spotted it. Oh, no, Beasty. He's going to... Oh, good. He lost a lot there. Would you believe anotand's killed 26 villagers so far? I mean, that could be game-changing. That's a healthy number of Janissaries going to rip through the Camel Archers. Just a numbers game in that particular fight. A couple more farms, but again, still the Camel Archers getting value in terms of keeping Beasty's army at home. The farming transition is underway for the Ottomans. A lot of it is idled as it happens. That's a significant wood investment that he can't take advantage of. Meantime, look at anotand's food economy looking monstrous. Almost 3,000 food per minute. Almost triple what the Ottomans are getting right now. And they keep on the west side. I mean, ultimately, anotand doesn't care about losing villagers. It's really not a problem for him. If anything, it's probably doing him a bit of a favour with 162 villagers. And the keep, it has been built. It will lose a couple. Again, not really too much of a problem for him. Managed to get a keep on the right side as well. And this is the benefit of having so many villagers, right? You can just get all the resources you want. Beasty, though, has got a significant army down the middle. Question is, will he push in, and how much joy will he get from a fight? Might be a bit of a tug of war. I wouldn't be surprised to see anotand maybe taking a fight and not necessarily having the best fight, but then of course he can replace his army in a blink of an eye. He's getting all these important upgrades: elite army tactics, the 3rd ranged armor upgrade, the 3rd melee armor upgrade. By the time the fight happens, I mean, the abbasids are going to have a fully upgraded army. Granted, the Ottomans are getting theirs. It's getting the elite knight upgrade, or lancers. That'll do well against the Ghulams. But it's got to get a mass of them, right? It can't just trickle them in. It's going to need a good few of them. But if you can support them on the back line of crossbows, maybe that's the way. But yeah, this is not really where Beasty wants to be. He's going to want to be aggressive. But he's having to clear up this mayhem that anotand's causing around in the back. On both sides as it happens. You see anotand keeping a really close eye on gold. This is exactly what he wants to deny. Sure, Beasty's in the Imperial age, but without gold he can't achieve too much. And you can see he's struggling, Beasty, on gold. He really wants this. He's got enough stone for a keep. I think he might need a keep here as it happens. But he might need to deal with this first. Now granted, he can get great bombards for free from the Mehmed Imperial Armory. But not the fastest thing to be operating for him. But let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, that's going to take ages. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. It has got one out already. So could potentially look to push on through. Ghulam's tanking. We want to deny this gold as long as possible. There's the counter keep for Beasty. So he will get the keep up eventually. Would you believe anotand's actually managed to get 3 relics in this game, which is kind of bonkers when you think about it. It was so late up to the castle age, at least compared to the Ottomans. Had very little map control, but has actually ended up with 3 out of the 5 relics. The lion's share of it, of course. And he's looking to stonewall here, anotand really covering up the map. Down the middle as well. And keeps calling up villagers. Where are they off to for anotand? Looking to cause some mayhem, but it almost feels like he's just quite happy to do this. He's freeing up population space for military. Looks like the Ottoman war machine are moving forward. Maybe this is his chance to do some significant damage. He's going to need some damage here, really, to get back into the game. Bombards take out a wall segment pretty quickly. Villagers perish pretty quickly as well. Speaking of which, where are these guys off to, trying to get an outpost? They will be chased down. Ghulam's on the right side, forcing the Ottomans to stay at home, at least with a handful of units. The remainder, though, for Beasty, he's sending it down the middle, straight down the middle. He's cleared up most of the raiding forces, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him look to group up together again. Push down in the middle, but he's going to need a big push for sure. He's got the military numbers advantage, and I think anotand in the situation probably just needs to trade off. Maybe he could delete some villagers, actually, as it happens. He needs to find a way to maximize his population. But banking up a large amount of resources and then killing villagers is not a bad move. It really, of course, increases the chance of you being able to replace the army in a meat grinder of a fight. Now, with the army right in the middle of the map, the kind of crazy to think about issue is that, well, the population supply for both players is relatively similar. Of course, Beasty's got a slight leaning towards the military numbers. Anotand mostly on the, more on the eco numbers. It's going to take out the keep pretty quickly unless, the villagers come out to repair. I'm not sure he has enough there. Got plenty of stone in the bank to be able to keep it up alive, but it is on flames, and I think Beasty should be able to break through, although that bombard is pretty weak. He does lose it in the end. I'm going to show... there's a couple of cavalries on the right. There they are. They're hiding out. Cavalry is moving out now. Beasty, though, spotting it too late and he lost the bombard. Pretty big deal. Took out the two culverins. I guess his charge just did it so quickly. Good number of Ghulams, but added in a couple of those hand cannoneers will help take care of some of the cavalry. But that's a big army for Beasty. Keep stays alive though, and that's the big deal. Keeping that keep alive is a clutch play. He's sinking a lot of stone into it, but understandably so. Around the back though, still a couple of Ghulam raiding, and he's doing it a lot. He's got a bombard on the right side as well, would you believe? Taking out actually a couple of miniature scores, completely uncontested. Beasty's going right down the middle. This is the fight we're kind of expecting to see. Lots of knights, a couple of janissaries behind. Meta involved as well. Bombard on the sacred site. Looking through as much as he possibly can, but this looks like it's a fight that's heading in the way of anotand. He's got the reinforcements coming on in, trickling in. Ghulams attacking that front line. There's just way too many ranged units. They're getting chopped to pieces. There's just not enough here from Beasty, and I don't know if he has the power to recover from this. He could back away, but there it is. He taps out. A kind of crazy situation, the crazy game match as it happens. The Abbasid Dynasty Eco Wing looking really strong in Age of Empires 4 right now. Cheaper villagers, fresh foodstuffs, cheaper farms, cheaper town centers, you name it, they get it. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted game, and if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.